Happy Friday! We made it another week. So I hope that you enjoyed this chapter about Sir Gareth, chapter 3 of book 2. And so we're just going to review over it a little bit. Have your book with you and a highlighter and a pencil in case you need to highlight something or make yourself a note. But we are going to be reviewing over chapter 3. So go get your book, pencil, highlighter, pause me, and then unpause me. Okay, here we go. All right, so when we first open up this chapter, like most chapters in this book, it starts with all of the knights gathering together for Pentecost. Remember that they won't eat until some quest has come upon them. So they're sitting there, and this very, I guess, nice looking, very tall man comes walking in, and they're like, this might be something interesting. So they start talking to him, and it seems like he was maybe injured. He was leaning on these other two guys. And he goes to King Arthur, and you know this always makes me nervous. He said, please grant me 3 gifts. I mean, I'm not going to tell you what they are now, but I need you to promise me you're going to give me the 3 gifts. In this chapter, it turned out okay, but sometimes we know that doesn't turn out okay. But King Arthur just continues to agree to things, and he doesn't even know what he's agreeing to. So he says, sure, I'll give you 3 gifts. And so the knight says, I'm going to ask you for 1 now, and then the others I'll ask you for in a year's time. Okay. And so he says, what do you want? And this guy says, I just want some food and drink. And King Arthur says, ask me for something better than that. I'll give anyone food and drink. He says, a friend or a foe. So like someone who's on my side or an enemy. I'll give anybody food. He says, no, that's what I want. I want food. And so I love how we keep getting more and more glimpses into the character of Sir Kay. We read about him in the last chapter too. And now King Arthur tells Sir Kay, I want you to take this guy and treat him like he's noble and give him all the food and drink that he wants. And so I want you to make sure you are looking on page 146. I'm at the bottom, this last paragraph, because King Arthur had said, act like you are entertaining a duke or a baron. Those are like noble people. And this is what Sir Kay said. He's neither of those, Sir Kay said contemptuously. What does that mean? With contempt, like not just anger, but like a really deep-seated hate. So he's like, why am I going to be treating this guy like noble? He's not. If he were even a knight's son, he would have asked for horse and armor, not food and drink. I'll wager he's only a vulgar peasant's son, so like he's poor and not fit to mix with us knights. And I wrote right there in the margin, pride. We are seeing Sir Kay exhibiting extreme pride. Why should I treat this guy like he's noble? He's not even as good as me because he's probably some peasant's son. And so what he does, I mean, I guess technically he did part of what King Arthur told him to do. He gave him food and drink because he set him to work in the kitchen where there's plenty of food and drink. And so he worked in the kitchen for a year. That is not what King Arthur had in mind, but that is what Sir Kay did. And because he would not tell his name, King Arthur had asked this man his name, he wouldn't tell him. He gave him a name. Sir Kay gave him a name, and he started calling him Beaumains, which means fair hands, for I've never seen any so big or so white or so idle and lazy. So he calls him fair hands. I mean, okay, that's not exactly something I would want to be called, but that's what he starts calling him, Beaumains. And so for a year, Sir Kay laughs at him and speaks to him unkindly and does unkind things, and he makes rude jokes, and he's just mean, right? He's making the guy's life miserable. And so we start to see the character of this mystery man, Beaumains. It says he was always gentle and patient. I'm on page 147 towards the top. Never answering Sir Kay back nor refusing to do whatever unworthy and lowly in office he commanded him. And Sir Kay, feeling that he might be in the wrong himself, jeered at him more and more unkindly. So Sir Kay is mean to Beaumains. Beaumains is nice back to Sir Kay, and so Sir Kay is even meaner to Beaumains. So you got to see, Sir Kay's not the nicest guy. So a year passes, and Beaumains comes into the hall with the rest of the knights on Pentecost, and a damsel comes riding in, and we learn that her name is Lady Lynette, and she has a sister, Lady Lyonesse. And she needs someone from King Arthur's court to come and save her sister from the Red Knight of the Red Lawns. And so here's Beaumains, the guy who's been working in the kitchen. He's not even technically a knight. And he says, I'm ready for my second and my third gift. King Arthur says, okay, what would you like? He would like to go on this quest, and he would like for Lancelot to follow him and watch him. And when Lancelot feels that Beaumains has proven himself worthy, he wants Lancelot to make him a knight. So King Arthur's like, sure, that was easy. I gave you food, I gave you drink, I'll let you go on the quest. Lancelot can follow you. Done. Lady Lynette, not as pleased with this plan, because she probably had in her mind that she's going to come to King Arthur's court and get someone like Lancelot or Gawain, right? And who does she get? The guy who works in the kitchen who's named Fair Hands. Like, that was not what she had in mind. And she immediately takes off and is just madder than she can be. So Beaumains takes off after her. Oh. Page 148 at the bottom. Sir Kay sprang up angrily. I will ride after my kitchen boy and thrash him soundly for setting himself up like this. And Gawain told him to stay. And he didn't care. So Sir Kay follows him. Hey, Beaumains, shouted Sir Kay. I'm on the top of 149. What are you doing out of the kitchen? Where is your reverence for your betters? You must highlight this line. Do you not know who I am? This is Sir Kay. Do you not know who I am? I'm better than you. How dare you think you're better than me? Right? More pride coming out of Sir Kay. So in the end, they end up fighting. And of course, it would have been wrong for Sir Kay to win that battle. So Beaumains actually injures him, but he doesn't kill him. He throws him back on his horse and sends, actually, I think Lancelot is the one who threw him back on his horse and sent him back towards Camelot. Beaumains rides off. Okay, now all this while, he catches up to Lady Lynette. And Lady Lynette is like Sir Kay 2.0. She's just mean, and she says mean things to him. You're not worthy of this quest. Why are you following me? Get away from me. Please just leave. And he keeps saying, as a true knight would, I will not leave until I finish the quest. Remember, that's one of the knight's codes. Once you start a quest, you have to play it out till the end. So he's not going to turn around and leave, but she keeps telling him to. So first, they come across the Black Knight of the Black Lawns. And on page 150, she keeps telling him, Lady Lynette, she keeps telling him, you're never going to win this battle against this guy, right? So the first one is the Black Knight of the Black Lawns. She's like, he's too good. You're going to die. Beaumains says, okay, then I will die. So he ends up fighting the Black Knight, and on page 151, towards the bottom, the Black Knight's spear glanced off Beaumains' shield and did no harm, but Beaumains pierced the Black Knight through the shield and armor so that he fell out of his saddle and died. Page 151. The Black Knight of the Black Lawns is a goner. And it was Beaumains who did it. Now, let me see if I can get this on here without streaming glue down our board the rest of the video. Let's put him right here. Okay, so Black Knight of the Black Lawns, he's dead. And right then and there, Lynette starts yelling at him and telling him that he killed him by treachery and all of this stuff, which wasn't true. So Beaumains takes the Black Knight's armor and shield and all of this, and backtrack. He had taken Sir Kay's sword and shield, so he did have that. And now he has the Black Knight's armor because he didn't have armor before. And Lancelot has seen enough. He says, you know what? I will knight you. And he does, but first he wants to know who he really is. And here we had a moment where I'm sure you, like me, went, oh, what? Who is he? Beaumains is actually Gareth, Gareth of Orkney, the son of Lot, King Lot, and Queen Morgase. Remember, King Lot and Queen Morgase are also the parents of Gawain, so it's Gawain's brother. Now, why didn't Gawain recognize him when he came into the court on Pentecost? Well, he said because he hadn't seen them in many years, so nobody knew who he was. So this actually is Gareth. And so he tells Lancelot, but he's like, hey, don't tell anyone, right? I'm trying to keep this a secret. And so he actually is royalty, right? He's the son of a king, King Lot. So we learned that on page 152, and that's a super important fact that I hope you included in your hashtags. Beaumains is Gareth, Gawain's brother, or something like that. All right, so Lancelot leaves, and here comes Gareth. We'll start calling him Gareth now instead of Beaumains. Gareth is following Lynette, and she's yelling at him and telling him to go away. He's not worthy. She doesn't know who he is. And so she keeps calling him the kitchen guy, and you smell like grease, and I can't stand you, and please leave. And he says, I'm never going to leave, not until I finish the quest. So next they come across the Green Knight of the Green, what are they called? Lawns. The Green Knight of the Green Lawns. And so this is not the same Green Knight that we saw back in book 1. This is a different guy. So Green Knight of the Green Lawns, they fight. Gareth gets the advantage, and he's about to kill him, and he says, I'll only let you live if she, Lynette, begs for mercy. And at first she says, I'm not going to beg for mercy. And then she changes her mind, and she goes, okay, don't kill him. And so Gareth doesn't kill him, and he just tells him to ride to King Arthur and tell what has happened. They ride on. She's yelling at him all along the way, and they come across the Blue Knight of the Blue Lawns. And each one of these knights is mightier than the one before. And the whole way she's always telling him, this one's going to kill you. That last one didn't, but this one's going to kill you. And he says, well, if they kill me, they do. But that's what I'm going to finish this quest. So he fights the Red Knight, or the Blue Knight of the Blue Lawns, and he gets the advantage. He's about to kill him. Lady Lynette says, okay, don't kill him. He says, okay. So he doesn't kill him. He says, ride to King Arthur, tell him everything that's happened, and they ride on. And they're coming to the last one, which is where the Lady Lioness is, which is the Red Knight of the Red Lawns. And Lady Lynette tells Gareth that what's kind of bad about this one is there's magic. Guess who gave them the magic? Morgana Le Fay. So it's evil magic. that he is stronger than 7 knights. Like, she's like, there's no way you're going to beat him. So you should just leave. I'm not going to leave. I have to finish the quest. So they get up to this place. Everything is red. And they see Lady Lioness up in the window even. And he is about to blow the horn. And this is a really important part. I got to find it though. All right, page 158. Yes. All right, so she is telling him he's stronger than 7 men. He gets his strength from this magic. And in the middle of the page, she says, I fear he will slay you. And he says, that shall fall out as God wills. And I put there our little knights thing, even though there's several places I could have put it in this chapter. For sure, I put it there. Because I feel like most people, once they heard that scary news about him having this magic and being stronger than 7 knights, would have said, forget it. I am not going to fight him because it's not a fair fight, right? You're just fighting with a normal mortal, strength. And here's this guy who's got the magic. But he was not going to give up because he hadn't finished the quest. So he continues to say, I'm going to fight this guy. All right, and so here is where he finally tells her who he is, that he is Gareth. And I had an interesting thought as I was reading this, because he's Gawain's brother, right? Gawain is Morgase's son, so Gareth is Morgase's son. Morgase, if you'll remember on our family tree, which still should be in your binder, Morgase is Morgana's sister, right? So Morgana Le Fay is this guy's aunt, and by her magic, he's going to be killed. That's what we think, right? That he's actually going to be killed because of his own aunt's magic. Did she intend it that way? Probably. I mean, we know her. She has no love for anyone, but I don't think herself. But it's just an interesting thing to think about, that here he is about to fight against this Red Knight who's got this evil magic that was given to him by Gareth's own aunt. So, now on page 159, they talk about that there's this tree. And hanging on the tree are decaying bodies of many goodly knights, each still in his armor with his golden spurs upon his heels. So the Red Knight would kill someone, hang their body on the tree, kill the next guy, hang their body on the tree. So there's all these knights, like I just have this horrible vision in my head of this horrific scene, right? This big tree with all these decaying bodies on it. Gross. I actually wrote, ew. That's disgusting. But that's what he sees, and that's scary. But he continues on. So he has this horn, and he's going to blow the horn to call the Red Knight out. And I like this part too, because Lynette stops him and says, wait a minute. Don't fight him now. Like, this is morning time. Everybody knows, but he doesn't know. Everybody knows that his strength gets stronger in the morning, and at noon he's the strongest he will be, and then it starts to wane or get less and less as the afternoon goes on. So let's just wait it out until the afternoon, and then by sunset he just has the strength of a normal guy. That's a better plan. Here's what he says. Ah, fie for shame, fair lady, said Sir Gareth. I were indeed unworthy if I should wait to fight with him when his strength had gone. So he's not going to do that. He's not going to use strategy as far as I'm going to wait till he's weak. If he is going to win, he's going to win against the Red Knight in the highest amount of strength that he could have. So I think, again, we should add that to the character of Gareth, that he really is trying to do the right thing here. So he blows the horn, the knight comes out, we're gonna fight. And oddly enough, he actually got the advantage over the Red Knight. Gareth did, after lots and lots of fighting, which I know you read about. So he says that he is going to, please don't kill me. And so Sir Gareth says, okay, I won't kill you. Go to King Arthur and tell everything that happened. And so remember that in this one, it's a little bit different because here's where the Lady Lioness is. And so this is where he beats the Red Knight. So he wins the lady, right? Just like in the fairy tales, he wins the lady. And so he goes to her and he's like, hey, I won you. And she says, I can't even find it. Oh, yes, there it is. Page 162. Go away, Beaumains, knight of the kitchen. When you are a noble knight of noble birth, you shall have my love, but not before. So he saved her. He saved her life. She doesn't care because she doesn't think he's good enough. She's arrogant, right? She's also very prideful. She's like, what? No, I'm not going with you. You are a kitchen guy, right? So forget it. And so he's like, well, okay. And he leaves. And all this time he's had this dwarf with him, which, hasn't really been a major player until now, because now she wants to really figure out who he is. So she sends someone to go out and capture the dwarf, and thinking the dwarf will tell her who he is. So as he rides off, they go off, this person goes off, gets the dwarf, brings the dwarf back. Of course, the dwarf is like, hey, help me. And so Gareth hears that and starts following. Unfortunately, the dwarf gets back in enough time to tell everybody who he really is, that he is Sir Gareth. And by the time Gareth gets back there, everybody knows who he is. So at the bottom, oh dear, of page 164, the top of 164, he comes back, and here's the Lady Lioness, who had told him before she didn't want him because he was just a kitchen knight. She said, fair greetings, Sir Gareth of Orkney. I am overjoyed to welcome you now into Castle Dangerous, my preserver and my love. What? So now that she knows he is of noble birth, she's definitely changed her tune. And he says, you spoke not such words to me while gone, though for your sake I had fought and vanquished the Black Knight, the Green Knight, the Blue Knight, and the Red Knight. Wherefore, though thou right willing will I lodge in your castle for this night, it shall be as your guest only, and not as your love. Kicked her to the curb. Said, I don't think so. And so she's kind of upset. And so while he goes to sleep, she sends someone to go kill him. And then she leaves and heads off to King Arthur, thinking that he's going to be dead or at least badly wounded while she's gone. And she goes to King Arthur, oh, King Arthur, and tells all the wonderful things that Gareth did. Please do something in his honor, like a tournament or something. He's wonderful, and all this odd stuff, when we know how she treated him before. Thinking and knowing that she thinks he's dead, probably dead. Of course, he's not dead, because he wakes up before the guy is about to kill him, and he grabs the sword, and he does get wounded in the leg, but he's so angry. I mean, when these parts come up, I just have to read them. On page 164, he guarded the blow so that it pierced only his thigh. Then he leapt up, took his sword, and slew the murderer, smiting him into many pieces in his rage. He was mad. So the murderer is in lots of pieces. and Gareth has a wound on his leg. So the Lady Lynette, remember her? All this time, she's been kind of mean to him, but then she had a change of heart. She is actually the one who heals his leg. So he does have to heal up for a while, but he does go back to King Arthur, and when he gets there, they're having this tournament in his honor, and he, does very well and does all the jousting and all of this stuff. And then it says that he actually married the Lady Lynette, the one who had been mean to him all along through the chapter. He actually ended up marrying her. And the Lady Lioness, who didn't want him till she knew he was a king, she left King Arthur's castle feeling very ashamed. And it says she basically put her evil ways behind her. And later on, she ends up marrying Sir Gaheris, who is Gareth's and Gawain's brother. So she ends up marrying a good person too. But at the time, she just feels really bad about all that happened. So make sure that you've done your hashtags. Make sure that you're doing your journal. And next week, we're going to read chapter 4 about Sir Tristram. So see you guys later. Have a good weekend. Miss you. Bye.